Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speed Street, a podcast. We have a podcast here. Appreciate everyone listening, no matter where you're listening, what platform you're listening on. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Help us out a little bit. I've noticed on the little analytics that not a lot of people are subscribed. So let's just hit that subscribe button. That helps the show get out to more and more people, and maybe just helps the analytics, right? We're big analytics guys because we're IndyCar people. We look at all the datas.
Data's fun.
Chase, the data is fun. We have no racing to talk about, no IndyCar racing to talk about. Formula One raced over the weekend.
They did?
And that's Formula One talk. No, they were in spots. George Russell got DQ'd because he was underweight. It was a great strategical race to watch for a little while. Formula One news as well. Our friend of the show, Logan Sargent, who has been on the show before. If you haven't heard his interview, please go back into our records and listen to it. Great interview with Logan Sargent. He's being replaced by my friend Carlos Sainz Jr. I'd love to get Carlos on the program at some point. He's a long time pal. But that's your F1 talk for today. Chase, how are you doing, man? Are we watching the Olympics? Are we getting into some new sports that we didn't know about?
Man, let me tell you, I have not been watching the Olympics as much as you have probably.
Yes,
I've been watching a lot of baseball. It's a big baseball off week for me. I'm missing racing more than ever now. Like, we got through like the first weekend. Now I'm like, all right, race win. You know,
Yep.
Sometimes that happens, but I have turned my attention to the event list, the sport list, because we're going to be talking today about two events that we think are cool in the Olympics, and I found mine. Very excited. I'm sure I'm honestly ready to hear yours too, because there's a lot of wild events, but. No, it's just been a lot of baseball, been a lot of MLB baseball, been just duking it out on the diamond, the digital diamond with the boys.
I respect that. So this week, we're going to have two guests, even though we are not talking to an IndyCar driver. We have Riley Herbst, the winner of the NASCAR Xfinity Series race that I was in last weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Honestly, a great chat. I know a lot of our IndyCar folks might not be as familiar with Riley, but this is a race-winning IndyCar driver, race-winning NASCAR Xfinity Series
we did
driver.
ask him.
But he is an IndyCar fan. He says in his interview, be sure to check it out. It's a great conversation that I do hope you'll enjoy. I know I say that about every single one, but this is unique because this is someone that we have not talked to. We have not had a NASCAR Xfinity Series winner on this season, or maybe even last season. So it's cool to chat with him. And
Shout out NASFinity.
Shout out NASFinity. It is also the Olympics. I love the Olympics. Every day my TV's on all day. Peacock, NBC, USA, even E Network. I guess the E Network is owned by NBC now. So the E Network shows Olympic sports all day.
Entertainment channel.
Yeah, the entertainment channel. There you go.
All right.
So we are having an Olympic athlete from the 2020/2021, the COVID Olympics in Tokyo. My cousin, Nicci Daly. She was a field hockey athlete for Team Ireland in the Tokyo Olympics. I think you'll really enjoy that one. That one's fun. That's strap in for a ride. The Irish people have a great time. So we're going to get to that after Chase and I do a segment that we are going to call the Random Olympic Sport of the Week. We have the Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week, obviously coming up later. But we decided to turn that into the, maybe not the Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week, but the I didn't know this sport existed Random Sport of the Week. You know what I mean? So
Sport of the Week.
Sport of the Week. So very excited to, what we're going to do is I chose a sport, Chase chose a sport. And we're going to maybe read some details on this sport. I got an athlete list for the sport that I chose, and I can't wait to talk to you about that. So that's going to be a fun one. But let's talk a little bit about some IndyCar news that maybe you missed, maybe you saw happen. There's really not a lot going on. I saw Alexander Rossi this morning. His thumb is looking good. He's feeling good, so I'm sure that's going to be a nice progression towards him being back in the car in St. Louis. Now that's not official news. I'm just saying the guy looks great, and he's probably he would never sit out a race if he had an opportunity to drive. He's going to drive. So Prema also, there's a lot of talk about Prema They have a new shop. Apparently, I saw an article about their 125,000 square foot shop near Andretti Global. I have not communicated much with this team yet. I would like to. I've communicated a little bit with them. But as an onlooker, as a fan, I'm like, oh, well, it's August almost. It's August very soon. And that's a lot of work to do if you're just now getting the shop for a 2025 season. So I'm that's going to be a pay attention per month as to what the updates are via the internet, via the internals, via the word on the streets. So yeah, very, very interested to see how that goes.
They'll be hustling for sure.
Yeah, they'll be hustling. And a lot of people keep asking, oh, that's where Alexander Rossi's going. I don't think Alexander Rossi's going to go there. So I think people have that as their thing. There was an internet rumor, and boy, is everything correct on the internet. I've noticed.
Right.
Everything's correct out there, so make sure you believe everything that everyone tweets. It's always real. Just kidding. So anyway, we will have a more of an interview segment this week because I'm not gonna lie, I've had a crazy day today. I can't talk. There's a lot of things that happen in my life that even Alexander Rossi told me today that I should probably write a book, or my manager someone told me I should write a book because life's an interest. We're in an interesting spot. Can't really say much, but took this morning. I had to take a little tiny plane to Chicago and back. We won't say why, won't say what's going on, but just a quick little trip, get some supplies. There's a lot going on in the world.
Went to the art museum in Chicago.
Yeah, no, didn't go to any museums. Just a quick little pit stop, maybe get my IndyCar seat. But you just never know why. You never know what might happen. So again, I don't want to, just let's just keep that where it is. Let your imagination run. It's not a dramatic thing to think about yet, but I just like to be honest with the, with the podcast group here. I had to go get a seat just in case. My seat was in Chicago. Let's have it in Indiana. Let's have it where, let's just have it on hand just in case anything goes on. So again, we're still in the summer break. We got a summer break happening. So as of now, I'm excited for these next week and a half still because I love the Olympics. I love to see what people are doing on the time off. Chase, I don't know if you've seen any exciting tweets yet about people. What are drivers doing on vacation? I put a tweet about this that people overreacted to because I said, this is essentially major vacation season for all three of the top motor racing categories. F1, NASCAR, and IndyCar. And NASCAR usually never takes a break, right? But this is the Olympic break. So you have all these professional drivers with time on their hands, and that is dangerous because you know what? A lot of those drivers are rich. And guess what? They can go on cool trips. So
that's right.
I'm excited to see some, photo dumps. Probably Pato Award's going to have a couple great photo dumps. I assume some of these F1 drivers are going to do really cool stuff.
I know Kyle Larson, he's just racing dirt.
Kyle Larson never stops racing. Yeah. He never stops, which is understandable. But like Scotty Mack, even Scotty McLaughlin, I think tweeted he might be back in Australia.
Yeah.
I saw that. I don't know if that was a real thing or not, but that's wild.
He'll be down under.
Yeah. So you're going to see, for me, it's exciting. I love kind of the off time because you never know which driver thinks, okay, yeah, this, you know what? I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to put this on the internet, or like, this is going to be a good decision, or, where did everyone go? Why did they go there? Kyle Kirkwood, he drove his boat down to the Bahamas, right? Kyle Kirkwood, boat guy. And I respect that, right? And I'm like, hey, Kyle, you're kind of crazy for just sailing down there. Aren't there pirates and stuff? I don't know about open sea travel. But Kyle Kirkwood's he's a very confident captain.
They're not bad pirates. They're not like peg leg pirates. They're legit pirates. They will come onto your ship. They will take your loot, and they will throw you out on the water. Yeah.
So anyway, a lot going on that I think I can't wait to pay attention to, and just enjoy the Olympics too. I mean, enjoy the Olympics. And honestly, we were supposed to have maybe Teddy Chairs on the show this week, but since I got a little busy this week,
a chair.
Things were kind of crazy. I was trying to get my IndyCar chair to be ready for anything. You know what I mean? You got to stay vigilant. But Theo, I think, is hopefully going to be on next week. So we're going to have an IndyCar guest, I hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed for the young Frenchman for next week. That would be a really cool chat to have with him. But for now, let's just get right into our interview. Let's get right to Riley Herbst. I think you guys will really appreciate this. And we can talk about some Olympic sports and maybe anything else IndyCar just for fun, because our Olympic guest also is involved in the IndyCar racing world as well. So with that, let's get to Riley Herbst. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this week we are very lucky. I talked about maybe trying to get this human being on our show this week because of how much I learned last week racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. This driver is a multi-time race winner now. We were in the same Daytona 500, no big deal. He was actually racing. I was participating. This is the driver of the Monster Energy number 98, Riley Herbst, winner at Indianapolis now, an Indianapolis winner. That will be forever. That's going down in history forever. Riley, we appreciate you being here, man. How does it feel being a winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Connor. That's kind of surreal, to be honest with you. Like I said in the post-race interview, I feel like that's the most famous racetrack in the world just for the history, and everybody around the world knows what Indy is. So it may not be the Indianapolis 500 or the Brickyard 400, but it's still an Indy win. So I'll take him how I can get him. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, they put your face on the pagoda still. So that's a big deal. You're there for a whole year. Every time we go there, we're going to see your face. So it's a big deal. I obviously got to talk a little bit about the race last week, but I thought it would be fascinating to get someone's basically thoughts on it who has way more experience than I do, because I think when you're in a race and you're having a good time, I was having fun, so I'm like, I hope this translates well to TV. But the fans clearly loved it, and watching your finish, the way you guys finished that race, even because I did not know that it was that awesome, but when I got to that clip afterwards, I was like, that was sweet. So did you feel the whole time like, hey, this was a pretty sweet race to be a part of?
I did. I was very curious and honestly a little skeptical with what package we were bringing to Indy. I know me and my teammate Cole were definitely on the team of low downforce, high horsepower, like our typical intermediate was, but that was kind of like our Atlanta, Michigan package. So we were very a little bit skeptical, and especially after practice on Friday, it was super fun by yourself, but I got within 3 car lengths of somebody, and it was an absolute handful. So I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty tough to pass. It's going to be a track position, long day. But ultimately, it raced good. And I don't know if it was us drivers just got more comfortable from Friday night into Saturday or what it was. I also think that they made some good adjustments on our car to get a little bit better in traffic. But yeah, the last lap was pretty spectacular. Hopefully, that was a pretty historic last lap. But I'm glad we did have a last lap like that. If not, it might have been a little bit more of a sleeper, and we wouldn't be talking about it that much. But I'm glad we were involved and on the right side of it there at the end.
Yeah. So at what point in the race did you feel like, all right, this is kind of like, because I think the Fords, like, you guys were definitely like fast. You guys were kind of seemed like to be the class of the field. But did you realize at the end that did you think anyone could have got you guys, or was it like, hey, it's going to be, we just got to ride at the front all day long and be there at the end? Or were you able to kind of pass your way through if you kind of drop back when those restarts happened and people kind of, because the strategy got a little shuffled. Some people got sent to the back. Some people were in the middle. Did you feel good no matter where you were?
Well, we didn't really feel that good going into it just because of our situation and just our points. So we opted for, like you said, one of the strategies, which was to go win the stage in the first stage, and we did that. And then so that put us in the back to start of stage 3. So yeah, we knew we had our work cut out for us. But yeah, I mean, I knew our teammate, the 00, was going to be really fast, and the 7 of Allgaier was good. The 16 of Allmendinger was fast too, and the 20 was fast. So I knew it was going to be a track position game between the 5 of us, and we kind of had to play cat and mouse because you didn't really want to lead that much. You kind of wanted to run second. That was kind of a new thing for me. We had experienced a little bit at Iowa. Just the leader just gets so much clean air on its nose, and you just get so tight, and you just put so much lower on the right front tire for 15 to 20 laps, and you get too tight where the guy behind you can kind of cruise and kind of take care of his tires a little bit more. So we were all kind of saving our tires, trying to pass, trying to lead. Didn't know how long to lead, how hard to go, but it was fun for sure. And I think the last few restarts, I knew if I could get the track position, I could hold it for those 9-8 laps, but it was a little bit more hectic than I wanted it to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, same. I was hoping that we would just go green to the end. I was feeling fantastic. I was like, it's going to be a great day. Our car was getting better. But then, of course, like I obviously watch every weekend, so there's always a high chance of a yellow towards the end. Something can happen, and you guys always have to be ready for that. And like, I guess I was kind of expecting it. But when you get to that final restart and you guys are like, all right, we're just going to stay out, and you hear everyone else pits, what are you thinking? You should be fine because you guys have been fast all day, or what? Are you just thinking we got to be defensive now as well?
Yeah, well, we talked about this on the radio for this exact situation because I think it was stage 2. I think the 7 car got put to the back, and he only made it up to, well, I think it was stage 1. When they pitted early, he only made it up to 5th or 4th in about 12 laps. But there was like 11 car buffer on old tires. So we were leading, and usually when you're the leader, everybody's going to do the opposite of you. So that kind of didn't play into our favor. But there was going to be about 9 to 10 laps once we took the green to end the race. And so I felt like if we would have hit, majority of the field would stay out. So we would have 10 laps to get to the front, 9 laps to get to the front. And we only ran 11 green flag laps. So we kind of felt like we weren't going to make up to the lead, or at least a top 3 if we pitted. So our best hope was to stay. And then the spotter said only 4 stayed behind you. And that's where I was like, okay, that's probably not what I wanted to hear on cushion wise. But then I was actually just trying to think back in my head how it played out. I kind of actually wanted my teammate Cole to push with me on the inside line, but he decided to race, and he chose the outside on the final restart. So I was like, okay. Then I had AJ behind me, and luckily we got to racing hard enough, and the people behind us got to racing hard enough that we kind of spread out a little bit. But I thought I had it. I thought I lost it. I thought I had it again, and then I lost it. And then luckily I had it there at the last second.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch. Chase, I'll let you jump in here with Riley.
Yeah, man, congrats on the big dub, dude. I mean, huge. Xfinity going racing on the oval, getting to be able to say that you captured that one has got to be big. Your face is on the mantle now, which basically the pagoda, at the house at IMS. I wanted to ask you though, man, I mean, now that this race is over, it's in the books, you guys got to get out there and get on the track. What has the chatter been like amongst you and your peers, just all the guys in the garage basically about Indy, and especially with Kyle Larson running the 500 this year? Does this got some of you guys itching to get in the seat of a Dallara and maybe try to make it happen over there?
Wow, yeah, that's way out of my window for sure. I mean, obviously, I would love to drive one just to test one. I think it would be so awesome. I'm a pretty big IndyCar fan myself as well. But I mean, everybody in the garage loves coming to Indy. It's just so historic. But I don't think that we are going to run the double anytime soon. But yeah, just to watch Kyle Larson do it is just so big for our side of the sport, and obviously the IndyCar side of it as well. And hopefully he can do it again next year. I'm hearing good things about that. So hopefully he can do it and complete both races next year, and hopefully other people try to do it as well.
So you did mention, now this is an IndyCar show. There is no doubt about that. This is an IndyCar program, but I like to try to talk about all the forms of motorsport because I think it's important to have I think it's important for people to understand you can watch more than one, right? Like I like to watch motor racing because I like to see great competition, incredible drivers, all this stuff. But can you kind of explain, would you say you do actually watch IndyCar races from time to time? You watch the 500, stuff like that? Do you enjoy kind of seeing what goes on in the IndyCar landscape?
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly, this will tell you how big where I am on my fandom. I try to watch as many races as I can, but I don't think I follow the IndyCar news on X or the social to deep dive. But I tuned into Mid-Ohio, and I didn't know you guys had a hybrid package, so that was mind blowing to me when I watched that. So that kind of shows you how much I follow it. But yeah, I mean, I like to keep up with all motorsports, and I think it's interesting. I think it's so similar but so different at the same time, which fascinates me. So it's a very neat sport, and obviously the Indy 500 is the biggest race in the world, and everybody watches that Memorial Day weekend.
So I want to talk a little bit about more about the technical details of what I was feeling in this race. I had never felt the side draft work the way it was. Like, I had never felt this feeling of you guys getting to the left rear quarter panel of another car and slowing someone else down. Like, I love can you tell people like what tracks is that most effective? And when you do that, is it pretty consistent no matter where you are and how you do it? Like, for me, it was fascinating to learn because, again, it was a whole, like, I didn't feel that at Daytona. When I was at Daytona and we were racing at Daytona, I didn't feel anything like that. So this was kind of something that, is it very Xfinity unique? Is this the package that was like that? I just kind of want people to know more about that because it's just, I don't think it's something people actually really can know unless they are feeling it themselves.
Yeah, I think you're right about that for sure. So you did probably experience it at Daytona in the Cup car. It's just definitely not to the extent of what you felt in the Xfinity car, just because all of our downforce is made up above on the body and the Cup car is all made on the floor. So when you get right there on the Cup car on the left rear, yeah, you can slow them down a little bit, but by no means how it works at the Xfinity car. And in the Xfinity car, the package that helps the most is our super speedways. The bigger the blade on the back, the more pressure you can literally just like dump sandbags, dump everything onto that other car you're trying to side draft and just slow them down. But the key is to get away fast, because if you don't get away fast, then they're just going to dump all that air right back onto your spoiler. So yeah, it's a really big challenge, but you'll see it everywhere we go, from a couple weeks in Michigan to even Darlington. You can try to slow somebody down entering in the corner. Yeah, it's just a really cool tool that us race car drivers and the Xfinity Series have, but it took a while for me to understand it, and I don't think I'm anywhere where I need to be with it, but I've definitely picked it up, and I used it at Indy, so that was cool.
The good old invisible grab and pull.
Yeah,
exactly. Like a rental car go track. You just like reach your hand out and pull them back. Yeah. Just only a few 100 miles an hour faster. But yeah, it's the same principle for sure.
I mean, I thought I was in some sort of weird science experiment. I was next to Allgaier at one point going down the straight, and he was at my left rear, but then he moved away. But then I was like, do I need to go closer to him? And then he came, and it was like, I felt like I was swerving down the straight, and eventually we end up side by side still into turn one. And I'm like, well, I don't know what all that was for, but it clearly helped him pass me because I got passed. So it was and then you saw it like in your last lap pass, because you got by Almirola, and then he tries to get to your right rear, and then that makes you super loose, I assume, into the last corner. And you say, like, it's just amazing to see the strategy of trying to, I guess, attack and defend. And when you were sideways in four, you're like, I'm just going to stay flat. This is it. Like, it's going to be fine. Because that was an impressive slide to correct at that speed and that corner.
Yeah, so that was a little bit different. So a few laps before that, I made a move on the 16 into turn 3, and like you said, side drafted my outside in the corner, and that made me really loose. So I kind of remembered that, and when I was behind the 20 going down the back straightaway on the white flag lap, I was like, whatever you do, don't get to him in the short shoot, because he's going to put it on your door in 4, and none of you guys are going to win. Cole's going to pass us down the front straightaway because we both slowed down. But then we turned into turn 3, and I just rolled the center so much faster than the 20, and I got to his bumper, and I was like, well, if I lift, then I'm not going to get my run back for 4, and Cole's going to pass me, so might as well take this run and see what happens, what I told myself not to do. So I stayed wide open through the short shoot into 4, and I tried to hold him out into the dirty part of the racetrack. You guys do that very well in the Indycar at Indy.
Yeah.
But he kind of like turned down. He knew what I was doing, but at the perfect angle, he touched my right front tire, and that's what got me so loose. And at that moment, I thought I threw away that race. I thought it was over, but I just kind of cranked the wheel to the right and stayed it wide open, and it kind of like corrected itself. And I was like, oh my gosh, we just won at the Brickyard. And I just had to break the draft going down the front straightaway. But yeah, there was a slightest bit of contact just on my right front tire from me trying to hold him out and from him trying to turn into the corner. And that's what got me sideways.
Man, it was a great clip to watch. I mean, those finishes at Indy, I mean, people love it. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what form of racing you enjoy. I think I saw more Twitter activity about that race than I have in a long time, which is cool. It's good for the sport. I hope, because again, like you told me, everyone told me the same thing. Like, oh, this race might suck. Like, it might suck. Like, that was what everyone kept telling me. I'm like, Well, I hope not. I hope it's a great race. And
then it just turns into a chess match.
Yeah,
and we get to hear it explained.
I was
it's
in a
amazing.
crash. I was in a crash in turn 1, and we went from the back to the front, went back again to the front, and it's like, if you have the ability to do that, it makes the racing like way more fun. Do you think is Michigan gonna be like that? You think? I mean, it's a completely different track, but are you thinking there's gonna be more incredible races like that with this package as you guys go through the rest of the season?
I hope so, but I'm not sold on it yet, Connor. I kind of wish we had the package we had last year at Michigan. We had a lot of fun. I thought it was a really good race. We were max horsepower, low downforce, and I thought it put on a good race. But yeah, we're taking the same exact package. Few weeks to Michigan, and we'll see how that is. So we're going to be all but wide open every lap around Michigan, which will be interesting. And again, you'll just have to time your runs, and hopefully you make it stick.
What does the future look like for Riley Herbst? Obviously, you've had some Cup starts. This relationship that you've had with Monster is incredible. With the team at Stewart Haas over there, they're great people, obviously as well. But what are we seeing for the future? What can we all be excited about for you?
Hopefully, we keep racing for sure. I think winning always helps, right? So
yes,
that was a really big win on a really big stage at a really big racetrack. So hopefully we can do that a few more times this year. And we're looking through all 3 series, the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series, and hopefully we can get something done here shortly.
So Riley, obviously with the seats the way they are in Cup right now, you're a winning driver. You're competing for a championship in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but obviously the goal is to be in Cup. I would assume there's that would be an incredible opportunity. But seats are kind of moving all over the place. Teams are closing down. Teams are adding cars. I mean, where does that put you? What is it an exciting time? Is it kind of stressful, or how's that working for you?
Yeah, I think everybody in the Xfinity Series desires to be in the Cup Series one day, obviously, right? So it's kind of stressful, exciting, and it's all that in one sense. I was really sad about the news of Stewart Haas Racing because I thought I found a home there, a forever home. And once that news came out, we kind of had to go shopping again, look around. So that was kind of stressful. It still is stressful. It's nowhere near complete. But yeah, the silly season in NASCAR is, I think, times 10 this year for some reason. I don't really know why, but I think there's going to be a lot more moving pieces here shortly. And hopefully we get on the good side of that, but if not, there's a lot of good options in the Xfinity Series and in the Truck Series. So I'm excited for the future, and we'll see what it holds.
Wow, so even trucks might even be an option. I guess kind of everything's on the table, huh?
We like trucks.
Yeah, I honestly think it just what I've learned in my short span here in racing in NASCAR is about equipment and people, and you got to put yourself in the right equipment with the good people, and you got to contend for wins. So doesn't really matter what series it is. You just got to be up front and in a really good car. So that's kind of what we're looking at for all 3 series.
There you go. All right, Chase, I'll let you get in one more here with Riley.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, so we've obviously had a break for the Olympics. I saw a video recently that came out. You and Noah Gregson were getting down on college, so some NCAA, EA Sports that's in the game, out there playing the game. How's the off time been, and who's better than who out of you two at that game?
Yeah, the off time's been fun. It's kind of weird. Obviously, I don't really know what to do with myself with being off this much, but it's been enjoyable for sure, and I've got to spend a lot of family time. But that video doesn't really show the whole story. Obviously playing NCAA quite often ever since it came out now, but he did get the best of me that day, but I am still the better NCAA football player for sure.
All right, he's standing on business right here,
That's
right
right.
now on the show.
I'll call him out right here.
Love it.
That's all right. I was with Noah after his race on the Sunday last week, and it was quite funny to interact with him as usual. But
he's a good dude,
South of France was great, huh? Nice little trip to the south of France. That's where that's where the cool people hang out.
It wasn't too bad, Connor. I'll tell you that much. It was beautiful weather, just enjoyable views, and a lot of fun. I don't really suggest the beer though. That's it's not high quality beer over there. The American beer is much, much better. I'll leave it at that.
There we go. That's what we love to hear. I love the NASCAR lifestyle. Honestly, it's an amazing lifestyle. I've only seen it in a small sense, but it's a great community. A lot of cool folks over there. So who knows? Maybe I'll end up there someday, but I don't know yet. We'll see. But Riley, I appreciate you for doing this. Honestly, I just kind of sent a message on a whim, and I was like, I think it'd be cool to talk to the winner. We talk to the winner of every IndyCar race, and so I was like, let's get the winner of the last race I was in. And that was a cool idea. So we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and good luck in your future endeavors, and hopefully we see you on the track here shortly. And good to talk to you too, Chase.
Same, man.
We shall certainly see. All right, folks, I really hope you enjoyed that. Great chat with Riley Herbst, the most recent winner in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I thought that was great. Glad to hear he's an IndyCar fan. Glad to hear he pays attention, even though he didn't know there was a hybrid system. But that's because it happened in the middle of the season, and it's kind of wild no matter what. So anyway, now, Chase, let's get into our Olympics segment. This is IndyCar analysts do the Olympics. This is the random Olympic sport of the week. So I have been really enjoying watching the Olympics. I think there's so much to learn. I've been watching everything. I mean, there's like the ping pong. Like we even saw some of the NBA guys watching the ping pong tournament because it's wild. You know, some crazy athletes in that. I mean, I thought the archery was crazy, right? These dudes just locking in ace archers, just out there in the wind. I mean, really cool stuff. There's pistol shooting. There's like air rifles.
They had like the shades, you know, like the spy glasses going on.
It's wild. So before we talk to my cousin Nicci, who is an Olympic athlete, she can tell us more on the ground Olympic stories. I would like to learn more about some Olympic sports because that's what we do. We learn about things, and I have chosen as my random Olympic sport of the week. Chase, you can go after this. My Olympic sport of the week, random Olympic sport of the week, is sport climbing. Sport climbing is what I'm going to focus on.
All right.
So I guess there are obviously men's and women's sport climbing. There is something called boulder and lead, and just flat out speed. So there's boulder and lead and speed, and so looking at this is kind of wild. It's like basically like we're not climbing a mountain. We're going to get up this wall as fast as possible. Like we're going to get up this wall like psychos. Crazy upper body strength. I was reading a little bit about it. There's over 160 climbers that were chasing 30 Paris Olympic qualifier series spots, I guess. So there's I'm trying to read through this, but there was obviously a qualifying list. There are several new sports as well that were added this year. BMX freestyle, breakdancing, and skateboarding were all added.
Shout out skateboarding.
Wait, no, they're not added. But I know skateboarding was around, but breakdancing is definitely new this year.
Yes.
So anyway, let's try to read a little bit about the athletes. So I went to see some athletes, like who are our Americans. So I'm going to read off a couple of the men's athletes, and then obviously a couple of the women as well. So it looks like one of our guys in the sport speed climbing, speed sport climbing. I don't know, speed sport climbing. I assume it's crazy. Samuel Watson. He looks to be one of the higher ranked folks. And then get this, Chase. This guy's got to win us a medal. Zach Hammer has to win us a medal. That guy's got to be on it. I mean,
puts the hammer down climbing for sport.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Hammer being a speed climber, it might be one of the coolest thing ever. Noah Bracci looks to be one of our team members as well. I'm just going down the list. John Brossler is an American athlete we can be looking for. So anyway, there's a huge list. Those are the first few that I saw. Let's go over to the women to make sure that we get the ladies in here as well, of course. This is in the speed climbing. Emma Hunt is in for us, for America. Shout out Emma. Sophia Curcio is competing for us. Piper Kelly is also competing for us.
I like Piper.
So that's there. There's a few there. So there's speed climbing. There's boulder and lead, which again I don't know what that is, but I can't wait to watch it. Boulder, speed, and boulder and lead. So if you know about speed climbing or sport climbing, please feel free to let us know. But I am excited to learn more about sport climbing. It's basically like one of those crazy rock walls that you have at like like one of those places that's like, okay, this is going to be the craziest thing ever. I'm going to have someone with a hoist, and maybe I'll get up there in 20 minutes. Whereas like these folks are doing it, like where these folks are doing it in like 10 seconds. So pretty absurd. This event has not happened yet, so you can still you'll still be able to watch it, which is really cool. But yeah, pretty wild deal. I'm gonna check out this. I'm gonna check out another article and maybe watch this video.
Have you ever went rock climbing?
Sport climbers. I actually have been rock climbing. Yes.
Okay.
What do you think about sport climbing, Chase? Is this something that you would try?
You know, when I was 11 years old, I did get a photo, and I swear to God, I have a photo of me on a rock wall in a mall that says King of the Rock. So I could kind of be considered like a child king of rock climbing in the mall. So it's about the closest that I have of experience to it. And that was a big question I had. Like, are these guys, they got a rope? Are they roped up, or are they just free climbing?
No, so there is a rope. Because basically it looks like I'm watching like a qualifier series now. I'm doing some spectating, and they're just zipping up this wall, and they kind of can just jump off because they get de-hoisted down there. So the athleticism that these folks have, both men and women, absolutely outstanding. So I cannot wait I cannot wait to see this. We've given you some American folks to cheer for, both men and women. But sport climbing is something that I think that I need to learn more about, that I can't wait to understand more, and that I think you guys should watch it. So sport climbing for me is my random Olympic sport of the week. Chase, which one did you go with?
So, I did my research. Obviously, I love skateboarding. I was going to go skateboarding, but I decided, no, it's probably a little too easy.
Everyone knows skateboarding. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody likes to board. Went from X Games, now real games, Olympic Games. So I want to talk about a new one that I found. It's kind of an interest of mine that I took to a few years ago, and it is called canoe slalom.
Okay, right? Canoe
slalom. It took me a minute to get the right pronunciation of the last part of it, but we're here now. They also have a brand new event they're introducing that's kind of inside of that realm of Olympic sport, called the Kayak Cross. This is the closest thing we're going to get to racing, other than racing on feet, I feel like, in the Olympics this year. This new event that they're introducing, you're going to have like 4 people competing in heats, and they have to all race each other like white water rafting down a kind of an artificially made high octane river, I guess you can call it. So
one of my favorite things to watch.
It really is. So it's like anytime you get racing, you're combining basically 2 parts of things that I love. Number one, kayaking. I love to yak. It's a fun thing. I like to do a little yak fishing from time to time. Number 2, the rapids in Tennessee. I remember as a young child, we used to go to Tennessee like most Southern families did.
Whitewater rafting, yeah.
Yeah, you do a little whitewater rafting. I remember going on there with my mom, and she was not having it, dude. I had to figure it out. 11 years old, and here was little me, dude. I was also king of the rock in the mall. Now I'm whitewater rafting. So a lot's happening for me with this sport, but primarily because I'm going to be able to just kind of pretend like, okay, we've got racing in the Olympics. Here we go. And now, don't get me wrong. I don't discredit track by any means, but we all know that they've got some amazing athletes out there, and the footwork is very impressive. It's just kind of putting the mental aspect into the racing a little bit more than all physical. So that's why I would probably flock to this. But it's the first time Kayak Cross has ever been in the Olympics, which is another great reason that you should like it. And for 2, it's just going to be cool to see how all these people navigate this tight artificial waterway to try to be the best, to try to win. We do have some Americans that are competing.
Let's hear it.
The 2 big ones. For the women's side, we have Evie Lebfarth, and I want to make sure I'm saying that right. I may not be, but it's Evie Lebfarth from Bryson City, North Carolina. Also a part of the Not Holla Racing Club. On the men's side, we have Casey Etchfield from Charlotte, North Carolina. So probably knows a little bit about some motorsports. the Potomac Whitewater Racing Club is like his home team.
Potomac. That's the Potomac.
Potomac. Yeah. Okay, we're learning hotel phonics segment.
Yep.
So from there, those are our people. Those are our guys that we want to root for. The big event that's coming up that I've been talking about, the one that I've chose, the Kayak Cross, you're going to be able to watch that one. I think it's scheduled in August. So
that's
right around
tomorrow.
the corner.
Yeah.
Literally tomorrow. August 1st is going to be the semifinal.
So
final.
The show will come out on the 31st. That means the next day, on Thursday, you can watch Kayak Cross. Heck yeah.
That's right. So you're going to start on August the 3rd through August the 5th is just Kayak Cross. This is the one that I'm hyped up about the most. The women and men's Kayak Cross time trials are on the 3rd. On the 4th, it looks like women and men's Kayak Cross heats, which is where you're going to see all four of people just competing, dogging it out from all the different countries. And on the 5th is where we're going to have the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, and that will be on NBC. So
I love that, dude. So I'm not going to lie. I did some Googling while you were talking there to try to figure out more about the difference between like boulder and like speed climbing. There is no ropes on this one. Like these ladies and these men are like starting at this wall that's essentially vertical, and they got to get somewhere, but like they're literally falling onto the ground after trying to hang on to these rocks like that are completely upside down. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So
it sounds like MXC. Do you remember
like
MXC?
The boulder, yeah. So I remember MXC, but you got to watch the boulder one because this looks wild, like crazy athleticism. And I plan on trying to see all the climbing that I could possibly see because these athletes are absurd. So that was our random Olympic sport of the week, and I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to cheer for Team USA. But right now we have an athlete from Team Ireland, an Irish field hockey Olympian from the Tokyo Games. My cousin, great family member on my dad's side, the Irish side. Very Irish side. I hope you'll enjoy the accent, our introduction into the Olympic world. My cousin, Nicci Daly. Well, this week we are very lucky to have not one but two guests because it's the Olympics are going on. Some of the greatest athletes in all of the world are in France competing for their countries. And we are doing an Olympic segment. We are doing a random Olympic sport of the week. For Chase and I, and we're talking about sports that we don't know about. And my cousin, Nicci Daly, was in the last Olympics in Tokyo. So we have an Olympic insider here with us now. But guess what? Also in the IndyCar paddock, because Nicci now works for Turn 3 Motorsport in the Indy Pro 2000 series on the engineering side. So you better believe that we found an Olympic athlete with an IndyCar racing Road to Indy connection. Nicci, thank you for being here. Are we Team Ireland? I didn't mention that as well. You competed for Team Ireland, and you're supporting them right now. How are we feeling so far about the Olympics for Team Ireland? I think it's been strong.
Yeah, it has. Like literally last night, we just got on the mark or off the mark with getting our first medal. So. Which came in swimming, and we haven't won a medal in swimming in over 28 years. So, yeah, it's been nice to see, from this side of it being, not competing and being able to watch all the sports and getting to support the Irish athletes. So I think the athletics starts next week. We'll definitely be in for a shout for a medal or two there, hopefully. And yeah, our swimmers are doing a great job as well. And just to compete at the Olympics is amazing. So just it's been amazing to watch them.
Well, you got to do it. So competing for the Olympics for Team Ireland, competing in the Olympics for them at Tokyo, obviously a little bit different. There was some COVID rules, some COVID-y stuff still going on there, difference, but must have been an amazing experience. Can you tell people what that feeling is like, getting on the plane with your fellow teammates? You played field hockey, so a big group of folks that obviously are very close together. I mean, that had to have been a very surreal experience because it's something that not a lot of people can really say that they've done.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what the Olympics is. It's the biggest multi-sport, competition in the whole world, and it only happens every 4 years. So, even though you might be part of an Olympic sport, it's not a given. And, for us, for the field hockey team in Ireland, it was the first time we'd ever competed at the Olympic Games. So it was the first time ever qualifying. And it wasn't without trying, it was 12 years to just try and even get there. So, getting to the Olympics is almost harder than competing at the Olympics. And so for us, it was an incredible, achievement. It was our lifelong dream to get there. And we really just soaked it all up. I mean, it was a different Olympics in terms of it being COVID, but we'd never been before, so we didn't know any different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had nothing to compare it to. But it was just, the athlete village, you're walking past these people who you forget you're kind of there for the same reasons, but there's superstars in the village, and just, putting yourself in the same place as them for 2 weeks is really, really special. So yeah, I mean, with the COVID Olympics, it was a little bit different, watching the opening ceremony in Paris. I was like, we didn't get an opening ceremony. We didn't get the outfits. We didn't have the superstars like Snoop Dogg and Lady Gaga and all these people turning up to see us. So yeah, we didn't have some of that. We didn't have supporters, but at the end of the day, you still get to walk away and say you're an Olympian, and that's something that very few people get to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is, when you think about it, like the whole 4-year span, when the world was at such a different point, when you guys had to go over there, I mean, it is very sad because there are probably many athletes who that was also their only Olympics. You know what I mean? And that is it's very sad. But
yeah. I mean, for me as well, because it got delayed by a year, I was the oldest on the team, so I'm granny over here kind of going, is it even going to happen for me? I'm like, no, oh God, when it got delayed by a year, it's like, that's another year older. It's putting my body through another year of like intense, vigorous training. And it's like, so these are the things that, and I actually got injured like 3 months out from the Olympics, and I was like, somebody's doing something to make this not happen for me. Like something's going severely wrong here, and that's the thing. Is like so many athletes miss out on the Olympics, and they miss out on all the training that they put in, and they don't, all the sacrifices. It just doesn't happen for them. So when you do get to go, it's hugely special.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Olympic Village experience, right? We're in Tokyo. Everyone always talks about the fact that they make you guys sleep on cardboard boxes. That seems very offensive. Was that true when you got in there? Are you like, we got these stacked up pieces of cardboard, and then that's what they're making you sleep on?
Yeah, and I think it was the Tokyo Olympics where that actually started. I was surprised to see it still happening in Paris. And again, it was like watching it being, I can relate to this. As like, you had people on TikTok and Instagram and all just testing it out, the durability of it. And people had them firing them over the balconies by the end of the competition. Yeah.
And in Tokyo, they were throwing the beds off the balconies?
Yeah.
It's cardboard.
By the end of there was wild things happening inside the Olympic Village. I really should have probably documented a little bit more of that. But
that's what we're here for. I want to know all about it.
When I look back at like my videos and the photos that I took during that time, I'm like, wow, there's so very few of me being an athlete, like, on the pitch or doing preparation outside, in the village. And it's just like all of the carnage that happened the minute that we sort of got eliminated from the Olympics. And there's obviously the Olympic rings are a big part of the Olympic Village, and so there's a massive big sort of hangout area that happens. And whenever the athletes finish their competition, like whether they medal or they get knocked out, everyone just congregates in this big field where the Olympic rings are. Everyone's playing all sorts of different types of music. If you like techno, you can go down here. If you like R&B, you go here. If you like pop, you go to the middle. And there's just like, everyone's drinking, everyone's having a good time, and it's
sounds awesome.
It was.
Sounds like Talladega.
The sun time just sort of stops. But yeah, so it was great to be able to kind of mingle with other athletes in that environment as well. So
yeah, I want to get to the mingling because there's a lot of cool stuff that happens there too. But like, the competition side, right? Field hockey. I learned a lot about field hockey. I'm out here writing down notes while you're playing. I'm watching it like 2 a.m. on Peacock. Like, I'm out here studying the field. And even Pat McAfee, we saw him tweet about field hockey this week. People are watching field hockey. The USA team played Spain just yesterday. I was watching. But you guys were able to win a match, part of in your group play. That had to have been an amazing feeling in the Olympics. Was it awesome just getting ready to go out there and compete? This had to have been an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was. Like we had a fairly tough group. I mean, we won our opening match against South Africa, which was great and probably one that we had targeted to win. So, we got off to a good start. And then, we had Netherlands, who are, multiple Olympic champions, World Cup medalists for, that dominated the sport for years. And then we had India, which we kind of came close to. And again, GB, we came close as well with them. So it's fine margins. You can look at it and go, we won one game out of 5. We sound terrible. But actually, when you look at the performances and you see what the fine margins were and how close we came, it is what it is. But for us, first time going to an Olympics ever, you're just there to sort of enjoy it and perform as best you can. And if you can get a number of results along the way, then yeah, you take it. But really, it's just the experience of it and sort of just putting your sport on the map for your country is a great thing as well. So
yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of great vibes around the Team Ireland making it there for the first time on the field hockey side. We were all very proud. Chase, I'll let you get in here and ask some Olympic questions.
Yeah, it's been interesting learning about you and the fact that you've been in the Olympics. I feel like that's just such a big thing because a lot of people never get to actually go. We all experience it kind of through the TV. For you getting started, like getting into it, like what was the routine like for you guys when y'all realized that you were going to be going to try out? Like, how is the mental prep work, the physical prep work, and really just what does it take from the athlete itself or the team to actually be able to cross the finish line just to have a chance to compete?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned before, it's the qualification process is probably the toughest, and getting to the Olympics is so hard. So from the time I started competing with the senior team in 2009, I remember the conversation I had because I didn't grow up playing hockey as like a family sport. As motorsport is our family background, and that's what I was always exposed to from a young age. But got into hockey and kind of realized, I'm kind of okay at this, so I'll keep going. But I had no idea it was an Olympic sport. I've never seen it in the Olympics before. Didn't know anyone who really played it at a high level. And I just remember the conversation with the coach at the time when I joined the team in 2009. And all I remember is him mentioning my name and the Olympics in the same sentence. And that was it. But what I didn't realize, I was quite naive at the time, thinking, I'm going to the Olympics in 2012. This is great. Yeah. That's not how it happened. We didn't qualify in 2012. We didn't qualify in 2016. We got so close to Rio, but missed out on sudden death penalties. So so I had no real understanding of just how hard it was going to be to actually qualify for an Olympics. And, we train like professionals, even though hockey is an amateur sport. We're training 5 days a week, twice a day. You're in the gym in the morning, you're on the pitch in the afternoon, you're recovering. And that program only got more and more intense as the years went on. And so, you're training like full-time professional athletes. You're not maybe being supported in the same ways, but the commitment and the sacrifices and the dedication that you have to give just to get there is incredible. And it's from a mental perspective, a physical perspective, an emotional perspective, because it is an absolute roller coaster. The highs are high, but the lows are really low. And it teaches you a lot about who you are as a person and how you can become more resilient just by being a sports person. And Connor, this, you experience the highs, you've experienced the lows, and it really tests your resilience on how you can actually bounce back and keep going and listen to your why to eventually get to where you want to get to.
It's an impressive run, a very impressive run, and it's just
for a maybe too. And that's what the big part is, right? It's just like the getting over the fact that you're putting in all this work and all this time for the chance. It's just something a lot of people can't wrap their head around. So it's a ton of respect for that.
Yeah, it's never a given, but you do it because you feel like that's your purpose, and it's, even if you don't ultimately reach your goal, it'll still have been worth it, to try, I suppose.
No regrets.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the jerseys, you got the free T-shirts, I'm sure. Hopefully there were some free T-shirts in there. That's pretty cool.
Well, one of the biggest things about the Olympics is at the end is all about, you swap your pins, but you also swap your gear. And funny story about me and my one of my teammates, Shirley McKay. So, the last day of the Olympics, we're getting ready to hit the airport. We're leaving the village, everything's happening. And we're like, come on, let's go swap some gear. So for me, like, you know, growing up, I always was fascinated with the Jamaican sprinters or the Jamaican athletic team. So I was like, I want some Jamaican gear. And she was like, yeah, I'd like some Jamaican gear as well. So we're going over to the Jamaican building, you know, we're asking every single Jamaican person as they come in and out. We don't even know if they're athletes or not. We're like, can we swap some gear? You know, we're Irish. We're heading home today. Like, can we swap some gear? Anyway, so a few people had kind of said, oh, I'm not able to swap yet. I'm still in whatever. So anyway, this next athlete comes along and we go up to her and we say, hey, like, we're Irish, you know, we've just finished competing. We're getting ready to leave. Do you mind if we swap some kit with you? And she kind of looked at us and was like, I'm still competing. And so we're like, okay, fair enough. Anyway, later on that evening, we're watching the athletics 100 meter final. And the woman who won the athletics 100 meter final, her name was Elaine, I can't remember her second name now. She's Jamaican anyway, fastest woman in the world, win gold. She was the lady that we had asked to swap our gear.
Nice. That's good. Yeah. She's probably like, who the heck are these idiots? Yeah.
Who are this is going in the trophy case,
like rubies,
ma'am.
Olympics, you know. You Irish clowns here don't know who we are as the fastest woman in the world. But yeah, so it was a little bit embarrassing on our part, to be honest.
That's all right. Was the social aspect though cool? So like, all right, there's probably some sadness if you're knocked out. It is what it is, because obviously there's several days of competing for you guys, because there's group play, multiple matches, multiple events that you guys have to compete in. But then when you're done, there's obviously still several days of other athletes competing. First of all, did you get to watch any other sports? And then second of all, was it just kind of a fun frat house type environment for the rest of it, just hanging out and enjoying it?
Yeah, pretty much the second part of that was very much the way it was. We did get to watch a little bit. I mean, like the boxing was still on and we had Kelly Harrington in the final. She won gold in the end. We did get to go to the athletics as well. So we saw like the triple jump and we saw a couple of the sprints, which, you know, in a normal Olympics, getting to an athletics event is like unheard of because the tickets are so, you know, hard to get. So we got to see a little bit, not a huge amount, but yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how much condition we were really in to go and spectate, to be honest.
Well, the Irish know how to consume a beverage or two.
Well,
I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, we were trying all the local beers, trying to figure out which one we liked the best. And, you know, in Tokyo, there was just cans of stuff. Like, I just remember, like, every time I picked up a can, I was like, I wasn't sure what I was getting. Like, it could have been whiskey and Coke. It could have been, you know, tequila and beer was another one that was mixed together. It was like, yeah.
They were waiting for you to ask for sake. They were like, it's just sake.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was there as well. I mean, it was just like a lucky dip. You just put your hand in, whatever you got. So it was,
that sounds great.
Yeah, it was a great time to be able to kind of enjoy it in that way after it, because, you know,
were there other athletes, like other teams that you guys were hanging out with? Like, is there new people
being thrown around the place? And people were handing me medals. Like, I was like,
they're just tossing medals.
But I was like, I'm not sure if this is your one or if this is your one. I mean, like, what
the real Olympics right here.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, yeah, the athletes all came down like with their medals and everything. That's what I'm saying. It was such a great way to interact with them and get to kind of see them in a different environment. And
yeah,
I'm sure they saw us in a totally different environment as well. I mean, we had no medals, so we were kind of on a 4-day, you know, rollover.
Still in the Olympics, though. The key, yeah. I mean, everyone was there. You know what I mean?
I want to tailgate the Olympics now. I want to tailgate it.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, it's the best you'll ever go to, really.
Who was the wildest athlete that you thought you met, other than the sprinter that you had no idea who it was? But like, who were the wildest athletes that you got to communicate with or meet that you're like, wow, these people are big
time? So like we got to meet Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price was one of the Jamaican sprinters, so she's won numerous medals. Who else was there? I mean, the one person I really wanted to meet, but she didn't stay in the village, was Simone Biles.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw her this year and she was staying in the village and I was like, oh my God, of course you decided this year you're going to stay in the village. But yeah, like, I mean, Andy Murray, I mean, tennis player. We got to, we met the German basketball team who were about, 4 foot higher than us. We got a cool picture with them. there were so many of them. Like I couldn't really pick who was. There was this triple jumper from Venezuela. She won the gold medal. She was incredible. She was actually staying in our building. But I mean, and then like some of our own Irish athletes, because they had made history. They were sort of the ones that we were like, shit, I want to go and talk to them, because we didn't all know each other that well. So it was kind of cool to then, hang out with the Irish athletes when they had won medals and things like that, and see them. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but I think Chase will enjoy this as well. But I remember during the Olympics, there was a Barstool Sports article that had come out, and I had screenshotted it because it had said that there was some athletes or a team specifically that might have got in trouble for maybe consuming some beverages and having a too good of a time in the Olympic Village, and I had actually screenshotted that and sent it to you asking if it was you. Would you like to comment on this at all?
I think that I FaceTimed you, or you FaceTimed me, like in the middle of one of those sessions. I feel like I have like a slight recall on that now. And I think that you had sent it to me, and I think I must have sent back a picture of me with a beer or something. And being like, you're not wrong. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's been another team, but yeah, I mean, like, technically,
hey, you got to have a great time. I mean, I
don't
fault anyone for that at all.
Technically, we weren't allowed to leave the village.
Yes.
So I'm just going to let you read between the lines as to what may or may not have happened.
Yep.
Allegedly.
When we did finally get knocked out, because we kind of ran out of supplies and
there you go.
Stock. So yeah, we had to sacrifice one or two people.
But see, those are stories that you will have for forever. You know what I mean? Like,
that's history.
It's incredible. Like, to go to the Olympics, I mean, I've never been to the Olympics. I would love to go sometime, but will I ever compete in the Olympics? Absolutely not. Chase is probably not going to compete in the Olympics either.
We're going to tailgate it, though.
They only announced it this week, but the IOC is the International Olympic Committee, so they just basically signed off on there being an esports Olympics in 2020.
I saw that.
What?
So,
yeah, I'm out on that. No chance am I going to sit on iRacing for 24 hours a day trying to be the best.
They're bringing a lot of new things to the Olympics nowadays. I mean, they're trying to get like cornhole. They're trying to get cornhole in the Olympics. Like, I personally think motorsports should be in the Olympics. You need to find a way to get it in there.
Too expensive. Yeah,
might be. Yeah. I mean, you could get the cars that like Carl Edwards drove. What was it, Carl Edwards? And
the IROC cars, the old IROC cars. Yeah,
I mean, you could
like SRX, but for the Olympics. Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty much.
So I honestly could talk to you about the Olympics all day, but I am somehow, my life is psychotic, and I have to go somewhere here soon. But I want to know quickly, because this is obviously a motorsport show, and you are working in motorsport, and I think that's one thing that's awesome. Hey. There are so many women now getting involved in racing as well, which has to be really cool. But tell folks a little bit about what you do currently, and kind of maybe what the future for Nicci might look like in the motorsport landscape. Or is that what you want to do?
Yeah, no, I'm as you know, Connor, like growing up in a motor racing family, it just quickly becomes a passion. So it's always been a passion. I've obviously loved following your career, even when you're in Europe, in America. And so I got into the engineering side of it, and I'm working now with Turn 3 Motorsport in the Pro Indy Pro Championship. So yeah, it's great. It's another Irish connection. It's run by Peter Dempsey. Myself and Peter grew up on the racetracks here in Ireland together. Our dads competed against each other. You race for his dad. So it's funny, like how motorsport is. It can be such a big place, but actually it can also be such a small place. So yeah, I work on the engineering side with them, on the data side, and I love it. I just love being at the racetracks. I love learning more. It's like a black art motorsport. You never really get it perfect. There's always something that you're trying to improve on, and there's just something about that really kind of makes me stay interested and intrigued by the whole thing. But I'm also, as a female, I suppose, sports person, female working in a male-dominated industry, very sort of proud and passionate about trying to encourage more girls, to show them that, like, really there's no boundaries. You set your boundaries yourself. So if getting involved in motorsport, either on track or off track, is something you want to do, it's there, and I'm trying to, through Sim for STEM, actually a program that I have built up with Steffi Bow, we're trying to sort of give opportunities to young girls to just show them what it is to work in racing, to have a career in motorsport, and to understand a little bit more about maybe becoming a driver or an engineer or a mechanic or whatever it is. So yeah, I think my future is very much still probably in motorsport and sport in general, and trying to encourage the next generation of women to really just, something that you want to do, anything you can do, you can put your mind to it, and keep it very sort of simple in terms of that, and nothing too crazy,
I love that. Well, before we let you go, this is a really random question, but so was there an Olympics like gift bag? Like when you leave a party, there's like, they give you these like bags of stuff, like swag.
Thanks for coming.
Is there like an Olympics, like, hey, you know what? Thanks for coming this year. Here's your hat. Here's your sweatshirt. Yeah. And like, there has to be, I feel like, these cool Olympic rings, like merch that you're just like, you know what? You came all the way here. Some people probably had to pay their own way. Some countries don't help out as much. But is there like a gift bag?
Yeah. So when we arrived in the village, on your bed you got your Tokyo spread. So your like blanket. So it had Tokyo 2020 on it. So you got that. But we also got like a custom or like custom made Samsung phone with the Olympic rings on the back.
A phone? You got a cell phone?
You guys got a phone?
S9 or S? I don't know. I use an iPhone, but I actually just have this phone from the Olympics. I've never used it, but it's cool because on the back it has Olympic rings engraved on it and Tokyo.
Awesome.
2020. And then they gave us like these like earbuds, Samsung wireless AirPod earbud things, and
Samsung loves the
water
Olympics.
bottles. We got pins. We got a proper gold OLY pin. So
all right,
there was kind of a lot of stuff in there, to be honest. But the phone and the earbuds are kind of the big,
I like that. That's a great gift bag. I'm happier about the Olympics. I'm like, hey, this is good. We got everyone supplied with cool stuff.
Yeah. And then obviously there was like all the kit in the world that you wanted. It was like, so.
Was everything free in there? Like all the food, everything was everything covered? How does that work?
Yeah. So like there's just a massive food hall. So obviously, you're bringing together so many different cultures and so many different types of food that people eat all over the world. And that's exactly what it was. It was like, you in, it was like, there's American food, burgers, chips, sausages, hot dogs. Seriously. And then you got like the Asian section where you got like the dumplings and the, all this, the rice and the noodles. Sushis, all that. I mean, there wasn't a specific Irish section.
No, that was just the bar. That was the bar.
That would have been probably like, I don't know, beef and spuds or something. But yeah, I mean, you had so many different, the food court was so overwhelming in the beginning. We were just going around with our trays and we'd had like 4 plates of food sitting on our trays. And it was like, we should really just like, taper this a little bit since we're going to go and compete in a few days. But yeah, so everything was free. You had this like little fob key. So you could go up to any of the vending machines and just tap your fob if it was you wanted a drink, like sodas, Gatorades, all that sort of stuff, like bars of chocolate, anything you wanted. You just swiped it for free. We had autonomous vehicles, buses that would take you all around the village, wherever you wanted to go. Yeah, and then there was like Bridgestone had actually supplied like bicycles all around the village as well. So you just jump on there wherever you want to go to. If you want to go to there was like a recovery room. One thing I did notice about what we kind of missed out on is, they had like a barber's and a hair salon, and they had like in Paris, they had like bakeries, boulangeries, all very French, and cafes and all this in the village. And obviously we didn't have all that because we couldn't encourage people to integrate or whatever. So we didn't have that kind of cool stuff. But yeah, everything was free that you did need or
That's
want.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was.
Nicci, I appreciate you. I've enjoyed learning about this. I think people will really appreciate it, certainly at this time of year.
I learned a lot.
I'm very excited. I love the Olympics every day. I was watching it for like 4 hours yesterday, random sports. I watched dudes shooting bows and arrows at some targets. I watched people jumping horses. It was all kinds of stuff. I was all over the map. So I appreciate you for being here.
It's crazy. Whatever that downhill kayak sport is. I watched yesterday with the Irish guy, and one of them just hit the pole on his way down and got to duck at 50 seconds. I was like, 50 seconds only takes him 94 to get down.
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Don't hit those bollards or don't hit the poles. It's crazy.
Like, that is brutal. That's some serious.
We talking about skeleton?
No, it's like it's water.
It's the downhill canoeing thing. It's the crazy canoe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
good.
Anyway, thanks.
Yeah, thank you,
for having
Nicci.
me, guys.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Honestly, Nicci telling us some true, honest stories about, hey, these athletes are going to have a great time after they compete for their countries. I mean, they deserve it. They put in, as Nicci said, she worked from 2009 to get to the Olympics in 2021. Like that's a long dedication to the sport that she was so very good at and is still probably very good at. So with that, I know this was a shorter show this week, but we had 2 guests, so hopefully you guys still enjoy it. I have to get going. It's been a crazy day. I got to get going, but we cannot leave the show without doing the Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week.
Greatest event of its kind that's ever been run on.
Let's meet the drivers. We'll make up the field.
Chase, I know you're fully on to the Olympics now. We're Olympics. We're Olympic guys.
I know a lot about it.
I went way back into the day. Because motorsport started very early in the history of the world, right? We're like 1900, but guess what?
Pre-Titanic.
All these athletes running in circles, climbing stuff, boating, that started far earlier than motorsport. But we are still going to go back into the very early days of motor racing. We're going to the 1928 Indy 500, 1927 Indianapolis 500, the 1927 Indianapolis 500. We're going to go with the 28th place finisher, Bennett Hill. Bennett Hill is the 28th place finisher. He won a 100-mile race in Berkeley. He made 66 AAA championship car starts, capturing 5 wins and 7 poles. Hill was a specialist at board track racing, which I don't know what that is. All his wins and poles were recorded on this type of track, which features a racing surface composed of wooden planks. I didn't know there were dudes racing on wooden planks back then. That's kind of
laying
crazy.
the 2x4s out, dude. Just ripping it up, dude.
I had no idea that was a thing. That's incredible. Many Indy 500 starts to Bennett's career. So 1920, 21, skipped 22. He's in 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and then several year gap, 1933. So wow, lots of Indy 500s for Bennett Hill. Very, very cool. He died in 1977, so long life, 84 years old. He was born in the 1800s. Bennett Hill. Looks
That's
like he
saying
drove
a
the
lot.
number 25 car on wood. He was driving on the wood.
Dude, he made it. He made it, Connor, because crashes were frequent and often fatal for drivers and spectators alike in board track racing. I did a
that's
little
crazy.
recon.
A lot of fire, I assume. A lot of fire.
Yes, definitely fire, track gone. You don't know where the track went at some point.
If there's a fire, well, sorry, but the race is over because
Track's
they burn a
gone
hole
too,
through
dude.
it. Yeah, jeez. All right, folks. Well, I am off now. We will see what happens next week. There's going to be a lot of exciting things. I am testing next week in the GT3 car, again, the BMW GT3 car. So I am testing Monday and Tuesday, which means we might have to release the show one day later, but we will get it done. Just be prepared to maybe adjust your schedule. So with that, enjoy the Olympics. We will see you guys next week on Speed Street. Hey everyone, Connor Daly here. Please leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it, and also subscribe to the channel as well. That would be very helpful. Be a friend, tell a friend. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll see you on the next episode of Speed Street.